Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day so far. Hope today's been treating you well. In today's video I'm going to be using the Cooltrals and the Neutrals Cosmic Brushes palettes in one look. I've got an idea of what I want to do. Let's wait and see. I am still struggling. My voice doesn't normally sound like this. If this is the first video of mine that you've ever seen, I promise I don't always sound like I have a real life frog living inside of my throat. This is temporary, or at least I'm hoping it's temporary. Honestly, it's been over a week that I have sounded like this, and it's just gotten to the point where I'm having to work through it, and I hope that it is not the most distracting thing, but it's just what I'm dealing with at the minute. I've got so many drinks around me. I've got one for hydration, one for caffeination, and one for fun, and that is the life that I am living. I'm literally drinking the hottest tea to try and like burn its way through my throat just to get through this video, honestly, because if I don't film this then I'll have missed a video, and I am not letting a froggy throat mess up my upload schedule. Okay, so I highly recommend you get yourself a beverage. Like I say, I'm on tea today, and if you're in the UK, yes, this is the only acceptable sized mug to have a proper cup of tea. And let's just dive straight on in. I will zoom you in a little bit so that you can actually see what I'm doing on my eyeballs. I will scooch down in my chair a little bit and we will get into Cooltrals and Neutrals. If you are at all interested in either of these palettes, I have full like first impressions of both of them, and I have three looks with Cooltrals and 3 looks with Neutrals. There is so much content around these palettes, and this is probably the last time you're going to see like a full dedicated video just to these eyeshadow palettes, because you're gonna get bored of me talking about them. I do really like them. I am planning on filming, if my voice allows, I am planning on filming the like ranking video where I go through all of my Cosmic Brushes palettes. I'm planning on doing that today, but that's only if, you know, the frog allows me to by the end of this video, so let's just wait and see. So I'm gonna start with the Cooltrals because I think what I want to do is something more bluey with like these denim-y blue shades, not necessarily midnight, but like hidden and intuition and attract, something more muted bluey. And then Neutrals, I want to use Icon, that bright mustardy yellow that just makes my heart sing. I want to use that, and then I'm not exactly sure which shimmer. Honestly, probably Glitz, but we'll cross that bridge if and when we get to it. I might do an all matte look. Let's wait and see. I will probably want a shimmer by the end, but like I said, I'm going to start with Cooltrals, and I'm going to use a little bit of Eternal, this matte shade on the top, which has been, not going to use that brush, which has been one of my most used shades out of this palette. I just think that it is the perfect transition tone for my skin tone. It just works with all of the other tones in the palette. So I'm just taking a big fluffy brush into Eternal, getting a bit of that on there, and I'm going to start working that through the crease. But after I've tapped out the creasing in that eye primer, this is the P. Louise eye primer today, so just going to put a little bit of Eternal through the crease. Every time I use this Eternal shade, I just think, honestly, it's perfection. If you are a fair skin gal such as myself, I feel like this, just like across the lid, it just adds that shadow back in. It's just the perfect shade. So I'm going to take a smaller but still quite fluffy and also dyed blue brush, and I'm going to go into Intuition. This one on the bottom row, again, a matte, and I'm just taking that like right on the end of that brush, and then I'm like stamping it into the corner of the palette to like disperse that colour into the brush a little bit, and I'm going to start working that through the crease as well. And this is more of like a lilac-y toned blue. It's not like pastel baby blue, like just blue. It has got a really, really beautiful undertone to it. So I'm just circling that really lightly through the crease to start that blue undertone. And then I think I might do like a cut crease, you know. Really push that boat right out and go for a cut crease. Let's wait and see. If you haven't seen my videos before, I never know what I'm doing. Like literally never. So, and especially today, I'm not 100%. And then once I've packed that Intuition shade on, I'm just going back over with a bit more of Eternal, just to really feather that colour out. And you can see where it's like packed on darker on like the outer corner. The quality of these eyeshadows, they're so, so good. Like the mattes are so pigmented but also really easy to blend. Like I always thought that, you know, an indie brand, it would maybe be harder to use. I have zero complaints with the Cosmic Brushes formula for the shimmers or the mattes. They're just beautiful. Like they just work so, so well. So I'm gonna take a more dense brush. All of my brushes, all of them are stained, and we are not going there. Okay, we're not talking about it. So I'm taking a more dense but still fairly fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into Hidden, which is like definitely like a denim-y blue sort of matte shade. I really, really like the undertone of this one, and I'm like picking that up on like the side of the brush, tapping it off. Can you see all of that? Woo! Tapping it off, and then I'm going to pack this on like the outer corner. Like look at that pigment. Oh, she's beautiful. I really, really love this shade and this formula. So I'm packing that on the outer corner, and then when there's not as much on my brush, I'm like using the shape of that brush to like go through the crease a little bit. Yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna do a cut crease. This could end horribly. Horribly. So I'm happy with the depth and the blend from that Hidden shade. I am just going to take a really, really small fluffy brush, and I'm going to dip into Shadow, which isn't actually a black, it's just like a very, very dark grey. So I think that a little bit of that right on the outer corner, just to deepen that up a little bit, and then I'll blend it in with a bit more of that Hidden shade. I don't want this to go too grey. I want this to still look very much blue, but just a little bit deeper on that outer corner. So I'm just like wiggling that onto the lid, and also a little bit through like the outer corner of the crease, just to deepen all of that colour up a little bit. And then I'll just go back in with a bit more of that Hidden shade, just to make sure that that's all really nicely blended together. And I think I'm happy with how that's looking. I do feel like I've got enough of that blue sort of in here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little cotton bud with some micellar water on. This is one that I'm using at the minute, which is the Revolution Skin Brightening Vitamin C. It's fine, it does the job, and I'm just going to take a little bit of that on there, try and not spill it on myself, and I'm going to like remove all of that from like my crease and across the inner half-ish of the lid. So I am relatively happy with how that looks. It's just a rough sort of estimate. Then I'm going to take a dense sort of flat brush. I'm going to get a little bit more of that P. Louise base, and I'm going to like properly carve out the shape that I want for this like inner half. So if I get real close, I'm gonna like use the shape of the brush to carve out the shape that I want this little inner half of the lid to be, and then tap over all of that lid space, and then that's pretty much it. I'm happy with that. The difficult part is getting it the same on the other side. And I do feel like the trick is obviously doing it like close up in a mirror that's close to you, but also looking in a mirror that's further away. And I'm happy with how that is looking. So now I need more of a dense brush. This one will do, but I will just wipe it off on a little bit of tissue because that is the level of cleaning my brushes that I'm at today. And I'm going to go into NUDETRALS. So we're pretty much done with COOLTRALS. I might do something under the eye, but I'm going to take more of a dense brush and I'm going to dip just straight into Icon. And I'm going to really load up that colour on the brush. I'm not going to tap it off because this is still very much wet. I am just going to take a different brush and just make sure that this is properly smoothed out, so there's no product on this brush. Just to tap this in and make sure all of that eye primer is like laid down properly before I go in with Icon on this brush. And I'm just going to tap all over this tacky primer so that that colour can really grip onto it. I absolutely love this mustardy colour. Look how beautiful that is. Then I am just going to go in with a liner brush because I feel like that's packed on really, really well, but I do just want to like get right up to that line. So I'm using that same Icon colour and I'm just making sure that that is properly packed on right up to that line where it joins onto the blue. Yes, that's worked really, really well. I love these colours together. I'm actually considering which shimmer shades I want to use, like whilst I'm just neatening this up. And I'm wondering if that Luxe shade that sort of shifts to a green, I'm wondering if that will help sort of join, like on the lid, join the yellow to the blue. I am just going to go back in with that brush that I used to pack that blue on. I feel like if I just tap over this on the lid, I want this to be a sharp line here, like through the crease, but on the lid, if that can be a slightly softer blend, I feel like that would look really, really nice. Obviously, if you put a shimmer over, like a shimmer will cover 1,000 sins, but just a little tap of that just to help blend that yellow into the blue across the lid. I really like how that's looking. Those colours together are beautiful. So I'm going to go in with Luxe, which is this shade here, and can you see the shift in that? It goes from a gold to like a greeny shade. It is really unique. Can you see there? If I hold it up in front of my face it might focus, but it is a really, really beautiful shade. So if I tap that over the outer half of the lid, or like down the centre more so, just so it'll join those two together. I feel like that Luxe shade really has helped that blend. Like I say, a shimmer will help cover so much. so much. So I'm just really packing that on, honestly, because I just love this shade. And do I want something brighter across that yellow? Maybe Radiant, you know? Yeah. Let's use Radiant because that is definitely much brighter and definitely still that like warm yellowy vibe. So just tapping that across that yellow. I love that. Yeah, that works fantastically. I do, however, need to use a brush because my nails don't actually get anywhere near my eyeballs. So I'm just going to use a bit of that Radiant and pack that on just up to the crease. I do have a little bit above it, but I'm going to clean that up afterwards. So I've just cleaned off that little angled brush that I used to like pack on that yellow across the lid, and I'm going to go back into Cooltrals, and I feel like I just want something a little bit darker, like right up against where that yellow starts, so that contrast is a little bit more. So I'll just go in with a bit of that hidden shade, tap it off, because I don't want this to interfere with the yellow. I just feel like I need to intensify that blue just along that line, so that the contrast is a little bit more, yeah, in between the yellow and the blue. So you can see there where I've just added a little bit more of that blue right up against the yellow, and opposed to nothing. I feel like that added a little bit of definition has really helped. And then finally, just going back in with the brush that I used to tap that Radiant shade on, I'm just going to really intensify that Radiant shade right in that inner corner. And that shade over the top of that yellow is working beautifully. I really like how this has turned out so far. Obviously I need to finish up under the eyes and everything, but I am thrilled with how that is looking. I've just got a little unblended bit there. Yeah, I think that is the lid done. So I'm going to do the whole cleanup thing today. I didn't use any tape. I wasn't actually sure what I was going to do today when I started this. So a little bit of micellar water on a cotton pad, and I'm just going to clean up the outer corner. The most satisfying part. As much as I love using a tape and like not getting any colour there in the first place, there is something so satisfying about that clean up swipe underneath the eyes. So I don't necessarily feel like there's a lot of fallout. Like I was expecting a bit more from that matte yellow with the amount that I packed on, but that outer corner being sharp just does it for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face. I don't know what I'm going to use at this moment in time, but I'm gonna go off and do that, and then we can finish up under the eyes together. I need to refill my cup of tea already. Okay, so that is everything else done. I did just film a little short for the bronzer, blush and highlight. If you saw that, leave it in the comment section down below, because that will have been a short that you will have seen a couple of days ago. Hopefully. So let's just finish off under the eyes. I'm going to use that same really small fluffy brush, and I'm going to go into Cooltrals. I'm going to go into the shade Hidden, which is that main blue that we've got across the like crease. And I'm just going to wiggle this all the way along. I'm also just going to like, a cat joined me, if you can hear it rustling. I'm just going to tap that over the joint just to soften that a little bit on the outer corner, but just wiggling that all the way along the lower lash line. I don't want too much. I feel like a little bit of something just to have something, basically, just to have a little something under the eyes. I really love that Hidden shade. It's just such a unique denim-y blue. It's not too dark, it's not too light. I feel like for my skin tone, that is sort of a very wearable blue, where a lot of blues feel either too dark, like a navy, or like an indigo, or like a royal blue would feel too intimidating, because this one is like a properly neutral blue. I feel like that works really, really well. Then, what do I want to do further in? I'm picking up neutrals. I'm like, do I go in with a bit more of that icon shade? She says while she does it. Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. Again, just to tie it in with what's on the lid. I do feel like they blend together nicely, sort of in the centre. And I think, honestly, I'm going to leave it at that. I might just put a little bit more. My table is madness now, but I might just put a little bit more of that radiant shade right on the very inner corner. Yes, I think that that was the right decision to make there. Yeah, I am happy with all of that. So I'm just going to put a bit of mascara on the lower lashes. I was using the Lottie London Super Fake mascara, so I'll just put a little bit of that on the lower lashes, and then we are done. I'm going to have to get that cat out of that bag though. Yes, I am very, very happy with how that has turned out, and I feel like my voice has warmed up a bit, so I might get a few more videos filmed today than what I thought, but this is Cooltrals and Neutrals all in one, all in one look. So if you have both of these palettes, this is a colourful, glam way of putting the two together. Let me zoom you out. And I was, obviously, like before I sat down to film, I did look at these two palettes and I was like, what colour combination can we do here? And honestly, both of them have like purples and both of them have like greeny shades. I feel like there's quite a bit of, not crossover because obviously they're very different, but I feel like there are ways that you could create a variety of different looks using both of these. Obviously you can use shimmers out of one with mattes out of another, create completely different looks. If you would like to see a 3 looks with both of these, because obviously they were like a collection, they launched at the same time. If you would like to see 3 looks with Cooltrals and Neutrals separately, I've already done that, but if you'd like to see them together, let me know if that is something that you would like to see. I'm more than happy to do it, but this is the first time I have used these together and I am thrilled with how that has turned out. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have used both of these together, I would love to know what colours like you used together, what combination you came up with. I would absolutely love to hear it. I'd love to hear what you think of this one. Either way, I am thrilled with how this has turned out. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe down below. I post at least 3 times a week on a Monday, Wednesday and a Friday, but it's always more often than that because I get overexcited about makeup. Probably not this week because I'm having to dial down the talking just a little bit, but usually it is more often than that. It is always Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but a lot of the time I do get overexcited about makeup, so there are more videos than that. But until next time, thank you ever so much for watching. Bye.